I'm General Manager Ethan Rosignol at Dark Horse Toyota in Silver Spring. Having trouble finding a car? Come to Dark Horse Toyota in Silver Spring. Dark Horse Toyota is the Central Atlantic region's #1 Toyota dealer year after year. We are here to help you with all your car buying needs. Take advantage of our large inventory and pricing. Come visit us at Dark Horse Toyota in Silver Spring or online at darkhorsetoyota.com.
This is Optimal Health Daily, episode 2155, Confessions of a Pilates Body by Rachel Trotta of racheltrotta.com. And I'm Dr. Neil, your host, reading to you every single day of the week, including weekends and holidays. Now we're going to jump right into today's post, so let's go ahead and get to it as we optimize your life. Confessions of a Pilates Body by Rachel Trotta of racheltrotta.com. It's not Pilates, it's weights. Today, I want to address a misconception that I hear all the time as a personal trainer, especially when I make my in-home exercise equipment shopping list for new clients. I send the list to my client via email, and I often receive a variant of this confused reply when it comes to the 2 25-pound kettlebells I want them to purchase. You meant 1 kettlebell, right? Not 2? That was a typo, right? Those aren't supposed to be 25 pounds, are they? Often my new clients are skeptical that they are even going to be able to lift these weights at all. Spoiler alert, they definitely can. But their uncertainty is often tinged with a deeper fear, which some clients express to me right away, while some wait until several months of training to blurt out. It sounds something like this. I don't want to get big. I just want to lift lower weights for higher reps so that I'll just tone the muscle. I want a Pilates body, like you. They're afraid of the weights that I'm using with them, worried that they are moving away from, instead of toward, their goals, that they're going to get bigger and not be able to zip up their jeans. While I respect my clients' aesthetic ideals, there are 2 major problems with this line of thinking. One problem is that the reasoning is incorrect. That's not how strength training or muscle gain works. The second problem is the fear itself. Those that identify as female often don't want more muscle. They just want to improve the appearance of what's already there. They worry about getting bigger. Here's my confession. I look like somebody who does Pilates, but I don't do Pilates. My main forms of exercise are heavy strength training and running. Many of my clients don't realize that proper strength training gives you the tight curves you really want. So how do we untangle these misconceptions and fears so that you can get the physique you're aiming for? By the end of this post, you're not only going to have a firm understanding of how and why muscle gain happens and what variables affect it, but you'll also be excited to hit the gym and get to work on building muscles the way you want them. But let's start with the science of strength training. What happens when you train for strength? I'm going to spare you a lot of jargon and cut to the chase. Study after study after study has shown that high weights at low repetitions and low weights at high repetitions have an essentially equal effect on muscle change, all other things being equal. As long as you're working to fatigue, or what some call muscle failure, using a proper strength and conditioning program and doing it at least a few times a week, you're getting stronger and putting on muscle. Whether you squat 150 pounds for just a few repetitions, or find yourself fighting through the agony of a 90-minute yoga class when the instructor is clearly using the chair pose as a filler, you're probably going to gain the same amount of muscle in your quads, all other things being equal. I hope you noticed the phrase I was using towards the end of both paragraphs, because it's incredibly important. All other things being equal. This is the key phrase, because there are 3 other major variables that impact muscle gain, besides the weight that you use. 1. Intensity. When you are working on your strength and body composition goals, meaning you're looking more defined with less body fat, you are not making real headway unless you are really fighting to get through the end of each set, or yoga class, or Pilates pose, or run, whatever it is. In other words, what you are doing needs to be hard several times a week. An easy way to remember to work hard is that the American Heart Association defines vigorous exercise this way. Quote, "You'll probably get warm and begin to sweat. You won't be able to talk much without getting out of breath." End quote. Lifting a few light weights for a few sets of 12 on a couple of exercises is probably not going to get you to that point, and you need to challenge yourself more to see any change in your physique. 2. Nutrition. How we eat has a significant effect on how much muscle and fat we gain. If you squat heavy, but eat at caloric maintenance, meaning you're consuming roughly what you burn every day on average, or if you're consuming less than that, you're just going to keep looking and feeling better in your clothes all the time as your body prioritizes muscle and sheds a little fat. The net result is that you will be leaner and stronger and look better, even if you're not lighter on the scale. But if you tend to treat yourself after your weekly 90-minute yoga class because #balance and #brunch, you may find that you put on more size than you were counting on. You'll find that clothes are harder to fit into and probably won't see much muscle definition. Of course, it's often not quite this straightforward. Nutrition can be difficult to manage, but getting the right balance is a key ingredient in achieving the physique you want. And 3, volume. The third major variable is volume. In this case, volume doesn't refer to how loud the music is at your gym. It's how many times per week you're getting a particular exercise into your schedule. For example, if you're working on stronger, more defined legs, then squats once a week won't be as effective as squats in some form 3 times a week. With my coaching clients, whether in person or remote, I vary exercises throughout the week so that you're still working the same muscle groups, but without driving one particular exercise into the ground. It also matters how many sets of an exercise you perform. Without getting too specific, it's safe to say that 2 sets of 12 once per week is not as effective as 4 sets of 8 3 times per week, regardless of the weight you're using. When you match up the perfect combination for you of vigorous intensity, proper nutrition, and sufficient volume for several months, you are guaranteed to see a difference in your body. It could even happen within weeks if you unlock that combination quickly and stay consistent. Personalization is really helpful here. Ultimately, the great part is that these variables are adjustable for your specific goals. If you want to get bigger, I have slender clients like dancers who want to put on muscle. The answer is to raise your intensity and volume and eat more, especially protein and carbohydrates. If you want to get leaner, the answer is to raise your intensity and volume without eating more, and maybe even eat less, but not too much less, or you risk overtraining and under-recovering, which will set you back. In fact, you can play with these variables over time. For many of my bridal clients, we start by eating more while we increase exercise intensity and volume. Yes, you heard that right, more. By eating more, these brides-to-bes are able to put on a noticeable amount of muscle that, when they adjust their caloric intake and exercise intensity downward later, is revealed as tight, sculpted, and defined. We carefully balance the variables to make this happen. Plus, the added benefit of muscle mass is that it's more metabolically active than fat. This means that the more muscle mass you have, the easier it is to manage your weight and stay lean. Pick up those weights. Now, it makes me smile when clients rebuff my suggestion to buy the big kettlebells. I know how much they're going to love strength training because of the huge difference they're going to see in their muscle definition, strength, and confidence. So, go buy those kettlebells. Your new body is waiting. You just listened to the post titled Confessions of a Pilates Body by Rachel Trotta of RachelTrotta.com.
Quentin here runs a sustainable clothing brand.
Hi there.
He's excited that his shipping company FedEx has set a goal of having carbon-neutral operations by 2040.
Impressive.
When an influencer tweeted about his recycled bamboo t-shirts, Quentin unexpectedly became quite popular.
I'll take it.
He uses FedEx to reach new customers around the globe while making Earth a priority. FedEx, where now meets next.
Keeping your body in shape is important, but it's also important to keep your mind sharp. I've been leveling up my focus with Word Collect. Word Collect is my new favorite game. It's a free word puzzle app that starts easy but gets harder as you get better. Challenge yourself with this fun and addicting brain game that will help keep your mind sharp and grow your vocabulary. Right now, Word Collect is offering you 2,500 coins and 500 gems when you download and play. and I recommend you take them. They help you level up when you're in a jam. And even with all the reading I do here on OHD, I've needed the help a few times on word collect. This game is as challenging as it is fun. Stop mindlessly scrolling through social media and keep your mind sharp. Just go to the Apple or Google store and search for word collect. So if you're like me and want to get fit with your mind and body, download word collect for free today. Dr. Neil here for my commentary. At the beginning of today's post, Rachel talked about some of her clients saying something like, I don't want to get big. I want a fill-in-the-blank ideal body type here. I want a Pilates body, a yogi's body, a swimmer's body, a surfer's body. You name it, we've heard it. Now, I've ranted and raved about this before, so if you heard this already, bear with me here. The biggest problem is that first sentence, I don't want to get big. The problem with this statement is that it actually takes a lot of work to get big. Just as Rachel described, it's not so easy. Let's put it this way. Imagine walking up to someone, like today's author, Rachel, and saying, gosh, I wish I looked like you. I'm sure it didn't take you much time to look like that though, right? You must only work out, once or twice per week? How insulting would that be? Let's try a different mental exercise. If it were so easy to get big and muscular, wouldn't we see hundreds of people every day walking around looking like bodybuilders? Just think about those you see at the gym. Shouldn't they all be so muscular by now, they shouldn't be able to walk through the door? Our physiology just doesn't work like that. So as Rachel said, as you make progress, don't be afraid to pick up those weights. Yes, even heavier ones. Change up the intensity, change up the volume. But please, don't change the weight, intensity, and volume all at once. Pick just one of those things to change and start there. So if you're going to lift heavier weights, don't amp up the intensity and volume. Oh, and drop the fear that you're going to get too big. Just focus on getting the work done. All right, that'll do it for another edition of Optimal Health Daily. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a great rest of your day. And be sure to tune in again tomorrow for the usual Friday Q&A and where your optimal life awaits.